Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, November 14th. Hopefully everybody made it through Friday the 13th. It was a really great day. I'm not one for big suspicions unless they're good suspicions, right? But it was a great day. I know that a bunch of us who are reading have been all over the place with this book, and it's like, what day are we on? And I'm behind and I can't get caught up and things like that. And it feels so weird for me to just pop to, no, this is where we're supposed to be, but no, I'm not doing that. And so in the readings, and not even from today's, there was a question at the end of every chapter. Stormy puts these questions of things to think about, go and research. And one of the questions I thought was really just, I don't even know, good doesn't seem to describe it, but on page 130, I think it's chapter 11, page 130, the second question, Stormy says, what is the greatest longing of your heart? And I feel like this is one of those questions I struggle with all of the time, and not in terms of not knowing what that longing is, but what do I do about it? How do I get it? How do I fix it? Things like that. And I know a lot of times people struggle with, oh, what am I supposed to do on this earth? And what is my purpose? And, what am I here for? And blah, 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 all this stuff, which is important. It's really important. But I also think maybe even before that, at least for me, there's that question of, or not even a question, but the thoughts of, I really want this in my life, or how do I accomplish this? How do I work on this? Things like that. So I'm going to give you an example of mine, and then I want to hear your thoughts. So I have just an amazing sense of humor, right? I can make fun out of anything. Sometimes I wonder if God didn't actually make me a stand-up comedian in a past life, right? Because while some of you get to experience bits and pieces of it, Brad gets to experience it full force in rare form all the time. And sometimes, he would just beg me, just stop, please stop. I just can't take anymore, right? And my ex-husband, he used to get it so much that he would get annoyed because he'd be like, okay, I'm done. It needs to stop. And I couldn't stop. I would get on a roll, but long rolls, right? But part of my sense of humor is my sarcasm. And sometimes it's pretty dark, right? So it's sarcasm. I think, what is it? It means, I can't remember if it's Plato or Socrates or whatever that defines sarcasm. It means of the flesh, right? Literal ripping of the flesh. And that's what sarcasm means, is that there's an element of sting to it, even though it seems kind of comical. Not everybody laughs at it, right? And so I've been struggling, especially with things that are going on in the world, is to try and stop making humor or using sarcasm to make humor for things that I actually do care about, because I use it as a way to almost to fun and insult, like perfect example, right? There's, all these different states and governors and things like this are coming out with these restrictions for Thanksgiving that, okay, we can't have any more than 10 people gather at Thanksgiving, and you can't be from more than 2 families. And let's see, there was a whole list of them. And there's no singing. There's no loud yelling and screaming. It's prohibited, right? Yeah. Like I saw your face, Tracy.
Well, Tracy's screwed.
Right.
I sing all the time.
Right. So for any gathering, not just Thanksgiving, birthdays, whatever. So any gathering, no more than 10 people, no more than 2 families can make up those 10 people. And unless you're outdoors, you can't sing, yell, laughing, whatever. There was like four boisterous things that would spew bodily fluids, right? Sex wasn't on there, but I guess we could still have orgies in the front yard or something, but and since there's no more than
there's the sarcasm right there.
See, I don't even notice it sometimes.
Is there a bell you're supposed to ring when Linda's sarcastic? Maybe you could have a little bell you could ring Tracy in the background so she would know.
That's
like a
what I
dog.
do.
Like,
I need that.
yeah.
I need that.
Each
That's
of us
what's-
will get a bell, and then we'll ring it when it's sarcasm. I love sarcasm, so I don't know.
Well, we're not talking about a chapter, and good morning, Susan. We're not talking about a specific chapter this morning, but one of the questions, because I think all of us are in different places, but one of the questions, page 130, Stormy asks is, what is the greatest longing of your heart? And I struggle with this all the time, and I haven't even got to the whole longing, but one of the things that I've been contemplating working on is my sarcasm, because sometimes it does hurt people or this and that, or I lose my ability to have any kind of an influence or good, help to offer assistance in people, if they're turned away by my humor. And so I'm struggling with what to do about that. It feels wrong to try and just eliminate that from my life, because I feel like, okay, is this something that God gave me, or am I just using that as an excuse or whatever? But yeah, so we're not going to gather for Thanksgiving unless we're having orgies in the front yard, but no more than 2 families. So there's probably going to be some incest going on, but that's all good. So, it's those kinds of things that it's like, okay, how do I take the sarcasm and the humor that I make out of it and maybe address it in a way that could be helpful to people, helpful in the sense of, do people really support that? And if so, why? How can I help people overcome that feeling of, yes, I really support this, I believe in it, but I miss my family. What do I do? Those kinds of things. So I've been really talking with God a lot lately about, God, what am I supposed to do? How do I help people? How do I reach out? How do I open my heart and show compassion? And do I do that by getting rid of the sarcasm? So that question of is, not so much my purpose in life, but what's the greatest longing of my heart? My longing is that I want to keep my humor. It's part of what makes me me. But I don't want to hurt people with it. So that's the question of the day, is what's the greatest longing on your heart? And
that is a deep question. That is not something you can just think of, and then just off the top of your head, like, I'm gonna have to pray on that.
That's the longing.
Huge. Yeah, that's huge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think clients sometimes tell me, the longings that I hear for is that longing of, I need to discover my purpose, or longing to, I want to see my family, or I want a family, or I want, a husband or a kid, or, I want this, I want that, I want a marriage. And those are all great things. Those are longings. There's not to dismiss that at all, but to me, those are more longings for a step. It's like the next step in life, or the next achievement, or the gathering, or the next fulfillment of life, the next thing to try and accomplish, even if it's the longing to own your own home, it's the longing to move forward. I'm thinking, when I read this question, I was like, that's it. That's the longing that I'm experiencing. It's not a longing to produce an ebook, which I want to do, or to make my next business. It's the longing of what's inside of me, what's in my heart, and how do I keep my sarcasm and my humor without hurting people? So while there's no answer right now, I'm curious. I just want to open up that question to you guys and see, what, if you even know, what's some longings for you guys? Nothing like putting you on the spot.
I don't want to feel like I'm being like a cheater here, but I would say in the moment, because like Susan's right, it's just something I wouldn't want to just answer off the cuff.
Right.
But in the moment, I feel like right now, the thing I long for the most is that complete and utter trust in God's path for me. Like, really, like, we talk about it all the time, but just completely, utterly trusting and not feeling like I'm going to control it myself. Like, I know that's a habit, and habits will come into play, and I'm going to try to control things and whatnot, but like really utterly trying to like release that control and give it to him. But I feel like that's a bit of a cheating answer.
Well, I wonder though if maybe it's not necessarily a cheating answer, because I get where you're going, and because I know you so well, I believe that you do fully trust. You absolutely fully trust God's got a plan. He's going somewhere, this and that. And then there's definitely that struggle that I know on myself I have of letting go
Yes.
and letting him take that. But it's not because I don't trust him. For me, it's like, I don't know if I want to go where he wants to take me.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to experience, that. And I think about that. It's like, wow, I'm not ready to find the next water source of destruction in my home, right? Even though I know the outcome will be good, I need to find it. I'm not ready.
Well, I get that sense that when we discussed that in that little exercise that we had done with figuring out what I fear, and we had talked about like it's a trust thing for me. But so you're right. Like it's not that I don't trust God. You're right. I do trust him. It's that fear, or maybe that I get that sense when I think about it. I get that feeling that we talk about, that anxiety or anxious, like I'm not quite like ready to just, to release it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I feel that tightness and like not being able to let go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. It's easy to brush off. Well, I'm not sure if not brush off, but it's easy to say that it's easy to identify the bigger umbrella of, I'm not sure if I trust God or I believe, but in reality, I think you do. It's something going on underneath.
It's something
there.
underneath that. You're right.
Yeah. And I trust in my heart that I don't want to hurt people most of the time. And that, I want to respond with love and compassion and all of that, but what do I do with my humor? Right.
No, you're right.
Yeah. That's where my struggle is. What about you, Michelle? Do you have a longing for God's work in your life, or what you want in your life?
No, I guess the words that keep coming back to me are like wanting to feel deeply valued but also like held and comforted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's pretty deep. I remember a time when I felt like I wasn't valued, by my partner and my kids and things like that. And there's still times, especially, when I turn 50 again and they don't send me shit. So,
50 again? Is this ... again?
Yeah. I'm gonna give them one more chance. If they fuck it up, they're done, right? But so there's always that feeling of I want to be valued. But I've also learned that the more I come to value myself, the less those situations hurt me. They still hurt. They don't last as long. And there's less of a sense of retaliation when I value myself, So that's cool. I think that's a good okay, not a good longing, but yeah, I think that's what.
It's true. I feel like growing up, I definitely remember times of having the same feelings or longings of that, but searching for that to come from other people. And that's where, like you said, you get let down. But so I think I'm on that path, like you said, of finding that value deeply in myself and in my relationship with God. I just don't think I'm fully there yet.
No, are we ever fully there yet?
Michelle, I could relate to that because the two words that came up for me are similar, which were loved and cherished. So it's kind of the same thing, that feeling of, and I think you're right about childhood. You're always seeking it from other people, outside sources, and then they let you down, and you let them define you as not being, if you're loved or cherished. We what does that mean to me? Does that mean they pay attention to me? They agree with me? They want to include me? Like, what is the list of what does love and cherish look like? Is something I'd probably have to look at. And then God's like, yes, I'm the one that's going to give you that. So I think I'm on the page with you with that one, for sure.
Susan, I'm glad you said that. I think one of the things I've really noticed about you in this last year, um, since your back surgery, and we could say, okay, it's because your pain is alleviated and you're healthier and all of that stuff now, which I know too, because I've been through that. But I think it's more than that. I think that sometimes when we go through injuries like that and they're so debilitating in our life, it highlights all of those areas in life where we struggle, especially internally. And we can sit in that struggle and make it worse, or we can be in that struggle while also trying to improve, so that when the struggle, when that part has passed, then we're really relishing and kind of experiencing all the things that we were still working on. And that's what I feel like I see that that has happened in you, is that time you didn't give up on you. That there are times when we give up on life. It's like, yeah, I just can't do that anymore. Done. Write me out of this chapter. But you didn't give up on you, and you kept reading, and the personal development and the prayers and the leaning in and all of that. And when the situation was better, then it's like, wow, all of the other things that you were doing kind of come out full force. And I see, I feel like I see Susan.
Yeah, this year has been a lot about that. I get emotional that you said that, because it's been a lot of work and just a lot of letting go of other people's expectations, and knowing that like I have a lot to offer people, and that people that don't see that, it's okay to let that go, but also let me shine through, which sometimes may be too much for some people, like you said, for your sarcasm, but that's okay, because I like who I am. Like, I think I'm a good person, but it's a lot of shedding all of that stuff that what was that thing I said about like the coats that you wear, like along the way you pick up all these coats of like who you are and other people, and just like shedding that to just be me. And I'm still have a way to go, but I'm so much more comfortable with it. And so thank you for saying that. Like, I feel like it's been about a year now that I've really been digging into my faith. I've been in my women's small group with Amber for a year, showing up for prayer calls and stuff. So it's just, thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It feels nice too. It's more relaxing to not have to have all that stuff that I'm thinking about all the time, that, do they like me? Do they not like me? Do they say the wrong thing? Can I do this? It's exhausting.
It is.
Right? Yeah. And people are drawn to someone who's authentic in themselves. So knowing that, it's like, why would we try to do something different? But it's childhood. You take a lot on with childhood and carry it with you. And then you realize it's not serving you, but you have to I have to examine that, what wasn't serving me, and be aware of it, other than just like, oh, I'm just going to keep carrying this part of my personality along.
You said something really that hit me, that authenticity. And I'm sitting here thinking, can I be authentic without hurting people? Part of my authenticity is my sarcasm and my humor, can I be authentic? Can you be sarcastic without hurting people? I don't know. I'm kind of thinking of Richard Pryor right now, if you know who that is. Susan, I know you do, but
I do. Do you know Richard Pryor, Michelle?
No.
I do.
I knew Tracy might. She's got an old soul in her.
You both described, I was visualizing what you were describing, and it kind of reminded me of a dimmer, like a light dimmer in your house, where you want it to be like fully up at the top, like fully bright, and I imagine that you being you, both you, Linda and Susan, and then almost like when you are like interacting with someone, it's like you have to dim yourself. You have to like you're that feeling that you have to dim yourself. But how do you find that happy medium? Like, I don't want to be not fully bright, fully me when I'm around people, but is that too bright for somebody? Like, is it like, am I too much for someone? Do I have to dim myself? And is that bad? Is it bad to have that feeling of like, well, maybe I'll just like ease my way up to that full brightness? Like, that's what I was kind of like visualizing and comparing that to. It's like, it made me sad, but it made me it made me think, like really think about that. Like how much we do that, like you just describing that with your sarcasm, Linda, and you just describing that with you just being you, like Susan, you're like, oh, maybe it's too much for someone. Like, it made me sad to think, like, do we really just have to like dim ourselves for people? Censor ourselves?
And that's one of those things I've struggled a lot with that that question there is like, do I give up who I am? Do I dial it down? And so I started thinking, forget about the humor, forget about the sarcasm, and think about, okay, if I was just an asshole, right? You know, and I don't want to intentionally hurt people. So that would be something that I would want to change about myself, you know, to be less of a jerk, you know, things like that. So we do make those changes in life, you know, with that we learn how to become more patient and we learn how to do all this so that we can become a better person. And it's so if we take away the actual thing, whether it's sarcasm, humor, or patience, and just look at kind of the whole process, it's like you take something, you find something that you want to make better, and then you figure out, okay, how do I do that? You know, how do I get patience or this and that? And of course, there's that desire. Do you want to, you know? So I'm trying to look at it from that. And I think that's where I'm at right now in that journey of exploration is I don't know. Can I keep my, let's just say impatience. Can I keep my impatience and intolerance and be a better person? And that's kind of what the struggle is right now. Can I keep my sarcasm and still be humorous? You know, it's like, well, if I do that, I'm going to keep hurting people. So how can I
what I've thought of is, I've been thinking about this a lot in different scenarios, but also we've talked about it in different calls before, is that understanding and knowing when to say certain things, in the sense of, like, I know, Linda, you've talked about like telling Jack something or vice versa, and you know that the other person is not in a place to hear what you have to say. So for me, it's I kind of relate it to a stand-up comedian and like reading the room, right? So it's not necessarily that you have to change the fact that you're a humorous person, but it's like, who are you speaking to, and are they ready to hear that information or hear that joke? And I think that there's like definitely boundaries and lines that we need to figure out for ourselves of like, okay, I definitely don't want to dim my switch like to this point to please this type of person, because my sarcasm is who I am. So if someone just doesn't like sarcasm, then they're not my person that I'm supposed to touch and reach out to. So like with
then my next joke will be about them.
Right. But it's like there's different types of comedians, right? So there's some that are like really raunchy humor, and people flock to that and really love that. And then there's someone on the opposite side of that too. And so you have to find like your niche within that. But then when you're giving a show, like you're interacting with your people, you're reading the room. And like you said the other day, Linda, like sometimes you have to build up a joke further before you can hit the punchline based on how you're reading the audience.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Definitely not easy questions to answer in life, right? That's why we always need to be reading, praying, worshiping, talking with our people, you know, and doing personal development on top of, you know, spiritual development. So
I was just thinking of Jesus, who's our example. Did he do any of this? Did he sometimes pull back? Did he handle people differently in different situations? So just as a reflection to think about that, you know, if he's the one that we're supposed to be emulating or being like how do we see him? And I don't know the answer to that, because I don't know, I have not read the entire Bible through, but how did we see him showing up in different situations? Because sometimes he'd be frustrated with people and sometimes he'd just be giving. So I'm just trying to look at that and see, you know, how was he? Did he dim his light at all? You see, to me, I picture him so demure and calm and not sarcastic or funny, but we don't see that part. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously he had to have a sense of humor, right? He wasn't just serious all the time. It's just questions I'm just thinking about, you know. There's so little we know. I mean, we've got the Bible, but he had so many days of his life that he lived that we don't know what he did. Like, what did he think was funny? I want to know that kind of stuff. Where's Jesus' sense of humor? Right? What is he? What's a good like? How can you get Jesus to just crack up hysterically? Like, what does he think is funny? Is that in the Bible anywhere? Does anybody know? Like, see him laughing at anything? You know, just a somber dude.
and there's not a lot of humor in the Bible.
I know, but obviously,
I do think that
God gave us humor.
he related what he was talking to based on his audience, right? Because he would give different parables depending on the culture that the people were coming from, so that they could understand his message better. So I don't think he changed himself, but he related his message in a way that would be understood by the people he was speaking to.
Yep. Deep stuff. That's what happens sometimes when you're on these calls. Never know where we're going to go, right? All to the greater good. So today is Saturday, and on Monday, when we meet back here, it will be Monday, November 16th. And on November 16th is when we start technically chapter 14, just in case anybody wants to get caught up. So we'll see where we are. See how the weekend goes. How about we say a little prayer? All right. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for allowing us to come together today. And, I'm beginning to wonder if this is not Satan appearing in my life, because I would say a good 3 times a week now, just before a call, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. And then I question, why? Why don't I want to do this? I do want to do this. And it feels like Satan just keeps throwing things in my way. So I get the message. We're good. You can let him move on now. And show me all the wonderful reasons that I have to get up every day and rush to this call, because it's so awesome. And I just love the fact that so many of you ladies are willing to jump on here with us. It's awesome. Today, I want to stay focused today. I want to be able to push aside the stress and focus in order to, I don't have to get caught up 100%, but I want to be able to clear out enough of the chaos so that I can focus and I can think straight and not feel like I'm emotionally struggling. I want to pray for my children today. It's been a while since I've prayed for them because I've been busy focusing on me. And as they start getting ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas and things like that, and just being separated from their families, and you know what, God, I just want you to make sure that they are with people who love them and that they're not alone and they feel comforted throughout this holiday period. All right, Tracy.
Ooh, good morning, Lord. All right, I piggyback Linda. I just was stomping my feet before this call, like, nope, I'm not going to hop on, nope. And I had full opportunity to, so I quickly snapped out of it. So thank you for that, reminding me how much I do love to be on these morning calls, and when I can, to just grab onto them and jump on with full enthusiasm. I'm just feeling a little bit tantrumy, like I want to tantrum. So, help me get out of that. I don't want to continue my day on feeling like I'm working in a temper tantrum. So I asked, just to calm me down and release my anxiousness, for I have no idea why I'm feeling this way. I have no reason to, I don't think, that I know of. So I also ask for focus and just remind me to breathe. And I'm going to ask for prayers for Darren and I, just to connect him and I, and find our groove, and just be together. And I just ask also I'm grateful for having my family with me yesterday, helping me, my mom especially. I'm just so grateful to have her be able to come here and help me when I need her, and she drops everything no matter what for me. So I just am super, super thankful for my mother and for my family. Michelle?
Good morning, Lord. I want to thank you and start off the morning by thanking you for this beautiful day that we get to be alive and breathing and joining together in community with you. I thank you for all of these women popping on, because like Linda and Tracy mentioned, there are days that we don't want to get on this call, but those are often the days that we most need to be on here, and the days that we have really great discussions and reflections on our lives and how you are working on us and working through us. So I thank you for that, and I ask that you continue to urge us to be consistent in these calls and joining together, because we know the power when we join together, because you are here with us. And I want to offer my praise and gratitude to you today, Lord, that you allowed me to have the strength and the words during my networking call yesterday to speak about the challenges that come to us when we know that we're on your path, and the enemy's trying to put up roadblocks. And so I pray that the woman on the call, whoever needed to hear those words, that they truly take them to heart and turn to you, and just know that they are strong women and they get that strength from you. Susan?
Oh, good morning, Heavenly Father. I, on the other hand, really wanted to be here this morning. So first of all, I want to lift up in praise and thanks for Linda and Michelle for consistently showing up every day in a world right now that is so inconsistent. To know that they have committed to, regardless of how they feel, to show up and be here is so nice. To be able to rely on that, to know that when I wake up, I know even if I can't make the meeting, I know that they're having it, and two of them are gathered together. So thank you so much for Linda and Michelle showing up every day for this, and continue to keep giving them that nudge to be here, because I really enjoy it. And Lord, I know I've freed up more space, so I hope to be here more. I also want to give thanks and praise for the Mind Body Soldier tribe, and just offering me a space to grow in my authenticity, to take me from the beginning where I started to where I am now, and to continue to offer that space for me to grow. I also pray, Lord, that more women would come to our tribe that need this space, that they will not be judged, that they can come here with love, and that they can grow and flourish, because I have seen that over and over again, Lord, the work that you've done through women, through this tribe. So I pray for that. I want to pray over Don, that he can find some joy. He seems to be a tad bit cranky lately and a little unhappy with the world and life. And I am just praying for him, because I thought this morning, what can I do to change it? What can I do? And Lord, I know I cannot change it. I can only offer it up to you in prayer. I pray for Nicholas and Jacob, and Don and Nicholas, to come together and really work on that relationship, because for some reason, Lord, Nicholas is not loving his dad, and I feel really bad. So Lord, work on that relationship too. I want to thank you for this glorious day. It is sunny out. I am excited. I too, as Tracy had said, I want to make sure that I don't hold any grudge or resentment or negative attitude in my day, that I don't want to carry on through the day, that I just lift you up in praise and remember your promises. And I could go on forever, but I'm sure these ladies don't want me to. So I just want to say thank you, Lord, so much. And we lift you up in praise. Amen.
Amen. That's awesome. All right.
I literally could talk forever, so you guys are nodding off.
Join us back here on Monday. There we go. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And we're out.